Hey guys, today I want to talk a little about trade negotiations and trading in general. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to start over in team management and go to negotiations. I'm just going to walk you through some of the things that you need to do to get started. Some of the videos have covered this already in some parts, and there'll be some new things in here as well. So, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you really quick here how we're going to put a couple players up for sale. So I'm going to take this player and I'm going to put him up for sale or loan, whatever I can get. And then as we go through the game, I'll show you what we're going to do, hopefully, when someone engages to purchase him. So that's essentially how you go and, put a player up for sale. My recommendation is first thing you do, determine which players you want to put up for sale there. The next thing you need to look at is on your transfer budget. When you are putting your team together for trade negotiations, you need to understand what you have available. So here I've got almost 6 million and 173,000 for salary. So not a lot, but as we go to selecting players, one of the key things I'm going to look for is loans, and this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest things that can really help you. Now, I've talked about loaning based on team roles before, so you can go to team roles and select some players to loan that are going to kind of improve your team and your training. I'm not going to focus on this right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at players I can actually get for my budget, for my transfer budget. So the way loaning works is the market value of the player that you're loaning is essentially you pay a percentage of that market value. So if I go to players that are worth, let's say 10 million, this will be 11 million. So, and I go down to search, what this is going to give me is every single player that is that has a market value of less than that 11 million I put in. Now, where this becomes important is, let's say I want to learn Fernandinho, right? I could never afford this player. He's a Premiership player. His salary is almost 6 million a year, and I could never buy him because he is worth almost 9 million. However, if I wanted to loan him for the year, I could, and so let me explain what I guess I just did. So it's going to give you a loan option that's right in the middle, a transfer fee. So for 2.6, Fernando is a player that, or Fernandinho is a player that is important to the club, so they're not going to let me loan him. But if I max out my transfer fee, I have a shot, right? And you can loan to buy. This, I'll be honest with you, this you really have to max out everything to actually get this for the most part. You can mess around, but you'll end up losing a lot of loan players purely because of this transfer and salary component. So I wouldn't do that as much unless you really know you're going to buy the player. And then of course you max those out as much as you can within your budget. So I'm gonna look. So I can get this player. I can loan him for a year for under my transfer budget, right? So let me just I'll do a couple so that you can see kind of how it works. Zlatan, you know, his I'll go and show you real quick. His market value is only 3 million, right? And so what that means is the market value is directly related to how much I have to pay to loan the player. So look for players that have good skills that you want with a much lower market value. And then you can, so I've maxed this out and it's less than 1.5 million to get Zlatan on my team. So I can play with him for a whole season. I mean, he's 39 years old, so he's not in his prime, but if you look at his skills, I mean, the man can do pretty much everything other than run fast, right? And his conditioning is great, so his form is going to be high. And I'll talk about form and conditioning and that in another video. His heading's great. I mean, he can outjump most defenders, or at least have an opportunity to. And the other thing is too his precision shooting with his non-dominant foot, which is his left foot, is 3. So non-dom leg precision is 3, which means, you know, he's got a good chance of drilling shots even if you hit them with the wrong foot. So so just, you know, think about that. So that's kind of the learning and learning to buy component of this. The next thing that I would just want to do is, so here I've this is in scouting. I've gone through and I've set players that I want to scout, like players that I'm looking for. So I've set still developing, you know, ignore the budget. I go through here and just do that with midfielders, and then also do that with defenders. And here's the reason why this is really important. So when you scout a player and then you get a player that comes back in scouting, if you were to go to advanced search and try and buy that player or loan that player, you're going to have to max out pretty much everything to get that, to guarantee you're going to get that player. However, when you go to scouting and you get someone returned in scouting, if they show up in this list, you usually can negotiate pretty aggressively. You can't give them nothing, but you can negotiate pretty aggressively. And that's the benefit of scouting. The benefit of scouting is to hope that you get a player, a specific type of player, which is why you can drill down and, you know, like, look, so if I was looking for, you know, Messi, I know I'm going to look for a right wing forward, right? And if I'm looking for a specific, you know, geography, I know that I can go to Spain because I'm going to look at only La Liga players. I'm going to look at a very specific position, and then I would go to overall rating, right? Because I'm looking for guys that are really good at this position, and I would ignore my budget because obviously I can't afford him, but you know, that would mean that I can get anyone in that list. And basically, you have like a random chance of getting any of the players that fit that position, and then you have a real chance at actually signing those players. So it's really, really important to understand. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through and just I'll advance my game. So usually when I start a game, I'll do everyday transfer windows because I'm doing a lot of transfer work. But for this, I'm going to do only when there's progress, so that we can see if we can get someone that's going to make an offer for a player and someone that potentially is going to show up from a scouting perspective. So you know that because the team management will have the little dot over it, hopefully negotiations. And so now we go back to what we talked about. So you can see here, when I initially went for Fernandinho, I could never get that player. But all of a sudden here, I have a almost 6 million transfer budget, and I can sign Fernandinho for a year. I can also sign Zlatan for a year. What they've done is they've come back and they've renegotiated. So under the transfer fee where you see 4.7 million, you see a plus 506. That's what they've come back and said, hey, listen, we want you to add this to your original offer. And it's the same with Zlatan. The 1.6 million, they've said, hey, we wanted you to, the 1.6 is a result of them adding 177,000 to the original offer. But that's nothing. So I can go and I can sign that player right now, and that player is now mine for a year, right? I can play with, so you can sign, you know, if you can build a transfer budget, you can sign anyone you want. And it's, you know, totally legitimate. They play on your team. You can play with them. So you can really play with any player in the game you want, as long as you can build your transfer fee. And so what I'm hoping to do is show you how you do that. Okay, so scouting. So we've had someone return back on scouting. So I'll go to players to watch. So this Zima player, if I go to negotiations with him now, what you'll see under sports director's comments is, you know, the club is saying that, you know, it doesn't view him as a critical signing, so negotiation should go smoothly. And he's saying he would welcome a move to a bigger club. So whereas in the previous example with Fernandinho and Zlatan, I had to bump this all the way up. Now this is a small fee, so, but you know, think relatively. Now I can probably go down, you know, at least to here, and then on salary I can probably move it down a little as well. And so it's a very, very different dynamic of signing this player than if I was to try and sign the same exact player through the advanced search mechanism. So let's forward again and see. And what I'm hoping to do is show you someone actually coming for my player as well, so I can show you how to build your transfer budget too. So let's go back to negotiations, and you can see that as a result, even when I reduced the salary and I reduced the transfer fee, this team still want to go through with the contract. So I can accept those terms, bring that player to my team, and that is the real benefit of leveraging the scouting option. I highly, highly recommend, if there's a specific player or type you're looking for, use scouting to get them. It's going to cost you a lot less from a salary perspective, and it's going to cost you a lot less from a transfer budget. And here you go, right? We've looked for players that are right wing forward. We didn't get Messi, but we got Gareth Bale. That's how easy it is. Now, obviously, you need to keep these on. You need to keep the active searches there, and you will eventually get the player that you're looking for. So we'll keep going, and hopefully I can show you someone coming after one of my players, and how you can build transfer fee. So okay, great. So now we have someone that's coming for our player. So now this guy wasn't up for loan, but you see that they're offering me 5 million or almost 6 million for this player, and the salary is 241,000. So that basically more than doubles my salary budget, and more than doubles my transfer budget, right? So now I can go and get an even better player on loan or to sign. So I can choose to renegotiate. If I renegotiate, I usually bump it up about 3 bars, and what this will do is it just gives you a little more salary to play with. You can also do sell on option, where you get a little money if they sell the player on. I don't usually do that, but you can if you're going to play a really long game. I'm going to renegotiate there. And then one other thing that I should probably show you as we do this is if you go at the beginning of your game and you add a lot of players to the loan list, and I'll add 5 or 6 to the loan list here. This is a really, really good way to build up your transfer budget if you want to bring players in to your club to loan, because what happens is these are players that you can loan out that you haven't signed a contract with yet, and other teams, once you put them on the loan list, will actually start to evaluate them. Now the trick is you have to do this properly, you have to have enough salary budget to sign the player. So if we go back to the Gyorza transfer deal, so I increased the salary a little. You can see that his fee's gone up by 664,000. I'm going to accept those terms, and you'll see instantly my transfer budget and my salary budget have gone up, right? So now I can go off and make some much bigger plays. I've got other players now that are available to sign, and just one last thing before we go. Hopefully we'll get a loan offer in for one of the youth team players, but it basically works exactly the same as a transfer. So the only difference is you're not selling the player, you're just loaning them. So you get money purely for just letting someone, I'll just skip through this, letting someone train up your player. The only downside is that you, one, don't have that player in your team for the duration that they're on loan, and 2, that you also have to pay that player's salary. So even though you get a transfer fee back, you do actually have to pay that player's salary. So that is a downside to it if you are really, really tight on the salary component. So I'll try and just find an example and cut it into the video if we don't get one here. But ultimately, someone will eventually come back on the youth team and say, hey, I want to loan this player, and they'll pay, for someone like Harrington, they'll probably pay $3 million to loan this guy, and then all you have to do is accept it and then take it from there. All right, guys. So thank you very much. I will come back with another video soon. Quick update, guys. So I did manage to get an offer for one of my youth team players. I just want to show you guys real quick. So here you can see, so I've got a guy that's worth 7.5 million. They're going to give me 2.7 million just to loan him for 6 months. And then here I've got a guy who's worth 2.8, and they're going to give me 763,000 to loan him for a whole year. So if I go ahead and accept the terms, I have to pay a salary of 241,000 to keep the player, but I get 2.7 million added to my transfer budget, and I can use that to go and sign a loan player. So just wanted to give you a quick update on the video. Thank you very much, guys. All right, bye.